to the third video in the cryptocurrency series. Today, we'll be looking at the economics of the Bitcoin. There are a lot of videos out there that keep articulating about the technology of the Bitcoin and how it works in the back end. However, at the end of the day, it is still a currency. So let's understand the economic side of the Bitcoin and the various factors that determine its value. So let's look at the agenda for today's video. We'll first be looking at the primary forces, that is supply and demand. Then we will be looking at the allied forces that affect the Bitcoin's value. And finally, we will have a quick discussion about Bitcoin as an asset class. So Bitcoin is like any free market currency. Its value is determined by the market forces of supply and demand. Let's look at the first factor, demand. Now, there are two primary sources of demand for the Bitcoin, like any other currency. First, transactional demand. The Bitcoin has been accepted as a legal tender in some parts of the world. People in these areas use the Bitcoins to make daily purchases, from coffees to cars. The second type of demand is speculation demand. Speculators use the Bitcoin's deflationary nature to gain from it. Most of the Bitcoin's demand is derived from this activity, thus making it more volatile. The Bitcoin tanks when there are instances of profit booking or panic selling. Now, we'll be looking at some of the socio-economic factors that affect the Bitcoin's value. The first factor is one that we've already gone through, demand and supply. The second are drivers of interest. Beyond the specialists initially drawn to the Bitcoin as a solution to technical, economic, and political problems, interest among the general public has historically been stimulated by banking blockades and fiat currency crisis. Banking blockades. Probably the first such instance was the late 2010 WikiLeaks banking blockade, whereby Visa, MasterCard, Western Union, and PayPal ceased processing donations to WikiLeaks. Following a request from Satoshi, Julian Assange refrained from accepting Bitcoin until midway through 2011. Nevertheless, this event shone a light on the Bitcoin's unique value as censorship-resistant electronic money. The most recent such blockade occurred when MasterCard and Visa blacklisted Backpage.com, a Craigslist-style list which lists inter alia adult services. Adult services providers whose livelihood depends on such advertising have no way to pay for it besides Bitcoin. The Silk Route is another example of a time when Bitcoins have been used to pay for illegal activity. Fiat currency crisis. As discussed, a Bitcoin wallet can be a lot safer than a bank account. Cypriots learned this the hard way when their savings were confiscated in early 2013. This event was reported as causing a price surge as savers rethought the relative risks of banks versus the Bitcoin. The next domino to fall was Greece, where strict capital controls were imposed in 2015. Greeks were subjected to a daily withdrawal limit of 60 euros. Bitcoin again demonstrated its value as money without central control. Soon after the Greek crisis, China began to devalue the yuan. As reported at the time, Chinese savers turned to Bitcoin to protect their accumulated wealth. The next factor is market manipulation. Bitcoin's all-time high above the $1,000 mark was partly driven by an automated trading algorithms or bots running on the Mt. Gox exchange. All evidence suggests that these bots were operating fraudulently under the direction of exchange operator Mark Karpeles, bidding up the price with phantom funds. The last factor are price irregularities. Sometimes an exchange's price may be entirely different from the consensus price, as occurred for a sustained period on the Mt. Gox prior to its failure and recently on the Winklevoss Gemini exchange. In mid-November 2015, the BTC USD hit $2,200 US on the Gemini, while trading around just $330 US on other exchanges. These trades were later reversed. Such events occur occasionally across exchanges, either due to human error or due to software error. Now, to evaluate Bitcoin as an asset class. Like I mentioned, speculators have been using the Bitcoin for investments for the past years, many years. However, due to the short supply of the Bitcoin in the market, the Bitcoin has been extremely volatile and prone to sentimental trading. The problem is, as all 21 million Bitcoins haven't yet been mined, the value is driven more by speculative demand than transaction demand. Over the past year, I have arranged many conferences on the Bitcoin, and during them, I have received a lot of queries from new investors looking at the Bitcoin as an alternative asset class to fixed income and equity. My advice would be keep a majority of your investments in fixed income and equity and trade the Bitcoin only as a risky growth investment. Use technical analysis indicators based on price and volume metrics and look out for a macroeconomic trigger, something like Donald Trump's election victory in November 2016, for a surge in the Bitcoin's price. Stay tuned for the next video where we will be looking at common Bitcoin related Q&A. Thank you.